Hey, this is Zulem Urbina, and tune into the relay for the latest news in boxing all around the world. Thank you for supporting myself and other female boxers. We truly appreciate it.
Welcome to the motherfucking relay. We're covering today's top boxing news. Ow!
All right, we'll start with this. Well, tomorrow night, Canada's own Kim Clavel going to be in action in Montreal against Mexico's own Maria Soledad Vargas. And, I knew that Kim was going to be fighting very soon. I just didn't know against who. But now that we've attached a face and a name to her dance partner, I have to tell you that this fight is a potential banana skin for the unbeaten Kim Clavel, sports professional record of 13 wins, no losses.
2 knockouts.
To Maria Vargas, who sports professional record of 15 wins, 3 losses with 1 draw and 1 knockout. Maria has been stopped 2 times in her professional career years ago.
Once in 2016, then again in 2017.
I firmly believe that Maria is a fighter that has improved since then. She's better now than she was in 2017 when she was stopped. She lost 2 fights that year, too. She was stopped by Sandra Robles in February of that year, and later on, in August, she dropped a decision to the then unbeaten Sylvia Torres. Maria, she hasn't lost a fight since.
She's fought 8 times since then.
The only hiccup she's suffered the last couple of years is a draw to Fabiana Betiki in 2019. Czechoslovakia's own Fabiana Betiki. That fight took place in Czechoslovakia. It was ruled a draw by the judges, though you have to wonder if that fight took place in Mexico as opposed to Czechoslovakia, where Fabiana is from. You have to wonder if that fight's decision wouldn't have went to Maria, since, Maria was the much busier puncher in that fight, so obviously the aggressor. Fabiana is more of a finesse fighter, like Kim Clavel.
That fight takes place in Mexico. Maria wins a decision on activity.
Yeah, if the fight took place in Mexico, but the fight didn't take place in Mexico. It took place in Czechoslovakia, and I think that the judges, quite generously, decided to rule it a draw. This weekend's fight, it's taking place in Canada, Kim Clavel's neck of the woods. It appears that Maria Vargas is very much a road warrior. She's not scared to travel abroad to do the business, and that's what she's going to be doing tomorrow night. Neither Kim Clavel or Maria Vargas have established themselves as heavy-handed punchers, knockout punchers. But I do think, to the eye, Maria packs a little bit more punch, a little bit more wallop than Kim does. Kim really is more of a finesse fighter than a ferocious one. The opposite is true for Maria. Maria's a bulldozer. You're according to Hoyle, close quarters Mexican pressure fighter.
That's Maria.
She's looking to fight in close quarters. Rip off shots to the body, let off uppercuts, take one to give one at times. And because Kim Clavel really isn't a very big puncher, because the work that you get from Kim Clavel is very neat and tidy, though not very aggressive, it creates a situation to where I think Maria can take Kim Clavel's shots. Keep on coming. Keep on applying pressure. I have to say the punch selection from Kim, it would be a little bit more educated. That's what I'm anticipating. Maria Soledad,
She swings kind of wide.
does appear to be mustard on those punches. Good torque, too. She really drives them, but there's room in there to catch her between the shots. I anticipate that Kim is going to try to do this, but Kim's not a volume puncher, and that's what worries me. Kim is not as prolific a puncher as Maria is. Kim, she'll jab at you, throw singles, one at a time, occasionally let off a combination. Her pressure isn't consistent.
It's calculated.
Whereas Maria, she's nowhere near as subtle. She's going to come right at you, and she's going to let him go. I think this creates a situation to where Kim is going to be forced into exchanges. She may be forced into a dogfight. Kim Clavel was last in action in November of last year, whereas Maria, she's seen action more recently in April of this year.
So both girls have fought in the last 12 months.
There's no pesky ring rust to have to shake off, and we know who the promotion is behind. We know whose coming out party this is intended to be. This is Kim's coming out party. She's headlining this event. It's taking place in her neck of the woods. So if the judges have to get generous and considerate, they will.
Not saying they're going to have to.
So much as if they have to, they might. Because Kim's a very educated boxer, make no mistake. The work really is neat and tidy, and it's not hard to look for. But she's not a prolific puncher, and she's not a big puncher. So I think she might struggle to keep Maria off of her. Maria,
Veteran of 19 fights to Kim's 13.
Maria's got veteran experience on her side. Faced the better quality of competition. She ain't got an O to protect. She ain't got nothing to lose.
And that's how she fights.
Whereas Kim's not a Gatling gun. She's not a gunslinger. She's more of a sharpshooter. It's more cerebral. Everything is off the jab. Everything is set up off the jab. If she lets go of a combination, it's a flurry. It's a burst. It's not consistent, not constant. I think the conservative prediction here is Kim Clavel on points behind the neater, tidier work and the more coordinated movements, because I do think she's a more coordinated fighter than Maria. But I see situations where Maria can really make things hard for her.
This could be close.
Maybe even controversial. This could be one of those quality over quantity kind of situations. Still, the conservative prediction here is Kim Clavel and Kim Clavel on points in what could be a tight fight and a very tight decision. We'll see what happens tomorrow night. And this is for the women's WBC silver light flyweight title. This is a light flyweight contest.
Set to go down in Montreal tomorrow night.
In other news, per tweet from Mike Coppinger via his sources, Sky Sports and Wasserman Boxing, which merged with Team Sarland, have struck a multi-fight deal that will also include pay-per-view events. Deal kicks off October 2nd with Chris Eubank Jr. versus Sven Elbier. Wasserman also has Mayris Briedis and Filip Hrgovic. And this was anticipated. I mean, I told you guys this weeks ago, with Matchroom and Sky having parted ways, it's conceivable that Wasserman will attempt to fill the void. Wasserman, that quite plainly stated they plan on making a splash in the United Kingdom. In addition to that rumor, Everything Boxing tweeted via their own sources, Savannah Marshall, Huey Fury, Josh Kelly, Louis Ritson are among the roster of fighters in advanced discussions to sign with and box on Sky Sports Boxing moving forward. We talked about this weeks ago. I told you guys.
Via a source.
Somebody on the inside, somebody in the know, somebody on the other side of the business. They told me Savannah Marshall might be leaving Matchroom, and she's not alone. Natasha Jonas might be leaving Matchroom as well to box on Sky, and not just box on Sky, but do punditry work there as well.
Is this why neither of them have a fight date?
It very well could be. I mean, it's been weeks since Matchroom announced that they are going all in with DAZN, and we don't know when Tasha's going to be boxing. We don't know when Savannah's going to be boxing either. They don't seem to be getting anywhere with Clarissa. Clarissa's next fight is an MMA fight.
Not a boxing match.
Savannah Marshall herself very recently stated that when she last spoke to Eddie, word from him was that fight ain't happening this year. And if that fight ain't happening this year, who is Savannah going to fight?
Who of note?
Who of any substance? Because, Franchon Cruz, Aline Cedar-Ruz, they haven't boxed yet. We don't even know if they still are going to box. Whoever wins that fight be an ideal candidate for a Savannah Marshall fight, but that fight hasn't happened yet. And if that fight hasn't happened yet, you ain't got the winner of that fight to fight, and you ain't got Clarissa Shields either. Christina Hammer, who knows if and when she's going to come back to pro boxing, assuming she does at all.
Could this be the reason they cut her loose?
Well, did they cut her loose? We don't know. Sky hasn't made an official announcement. Neither has Wasserman Boxing. And I assume that if this rumor checks out, that's the banner they're going to be fighting under. And they're going to be competition for not just BT Sport, Frank Warren, Old Fish Eyes. They're going to be competition for Eddie Hearn, Matchroom, and DAZN as well. And this creates problems. It does. Mayris Briedis is a Sarland Promotions fighter. Sarland Promotions, which very recently merged with Wasserman. Wasserman that just jumped into bed with Sky. Mayris Briedis still is the Cruiserweight Division's IBF and Ring Magazine champion, whereas Matchroom's pony in the show, Lawrence Okoli...
Well, he boxes on DAZN.
See, what you have to ask yourself is, are we about to see things get very political over there in the United Kingdom? Could the same political boundary lines, so to speak, that affect what fights possible here in America, could we see political boundary lines like that over there in the United Kingdom very soon? Because now there are three preeminent platforms over there in the United Kingdom: BT Sport, DAZN, and Sky, because Sky hasn't left boxing. They're building a stable. They're building a stable of their own. It's conceivable Mayris Briedis and his IBF title are going to be a part of that stable by way of Sarlin.
Oh, they got Chris Eubank Jr. too.
Nobody gives a fuck. Back to Mayris Briedis. If Mayris Briedis is going to be boxing on Sky, where does that leave the Okoli unification match that was talked about, previous reports up until now? Will that fight be affected by what's going on between Wasserman and SKY?
Might be.
It's too soon to tell. And what about Philippe Hrgovic?
Is he another matchroom castaway?
Philippe's been having a run of bad luck. We know that Michael Hunter quite famously pulled out of that IBF eliminator. And the IBF, they've run all the way down their ranked standings at heavyweight, and they couldn't find anyone that wanted to fight this guy in that IBF eliminator. As it stands, he's been forced into taking a keep busy fight against unbeaten up-and-comer Marko Radajic. 22 wins, 22 knockouts, no losses.
The fuck they find that guy?
Now that fight is being billed as both a Wasserman and a Matchroom promotion.
Whole promotion.
He featured on DAZN. But what happens after that fight? Remember, this fight is set to go down early next month. The deal between Wasserman and Sky, however, that kicks off the month after that, in October, with that Chris Eubank Jr. fight. So if Philippe gets this guy out of the way, where does he box after that? Is he going to continue boxing under the Matchroom banner by way of DAZN, or will he be boxing on Sky under the Wasserman banner? I mean, I told you. Since Matchroom signed this guy, this Croatian sensation, and his countryman, Alen Babic, it seems to me like Alen Babic has been moving the needle more than Philippe, even though Philippe is the more decorated amateur.
Alen is the fan favorite.
Now listen, these are just questions. This is me just bouncing ideas around. Is it possible that Philippe Hrgovic will migrate from Matchroom and DAZN over to Sky and Wasserman because he's already a Wasserman fighter?
After he gets this fight out of the way.
Does he continue boxing for Matchroom and DAZN, or does he go over to Sky? These are legitimate questions, people. I don't want to jump to conclusions or get ahead of myself. I'm just saying that this situation with Wasserman and Sky and all these rumors that are going around, they could potentially change things over there in the United Kingdom and the UK's boxing scene. Most definitely.
Wait for an official announcement.
In other news, per tweet from Mike Coppinger, the WBA ordered a fight between featherweight champion Lee Wood and interim title holder Michael Conlan. President Gilberto Mendoza told ESPN, if no deal is reached by September 27th, a purse bid will be ordered. Great action fight. Winner will be ordered to fight Leo Santa Cruz. And you see what the WBA is doing here. They're buying Leo Santa Cruz more time to hang on to that belt that he hasn't defended in roughly 2 years. That's what they're doing. I mean, I knew. They'd order Conlan versus Wood long before they'd order Leo to do anything. This buys Leo some time, some months. We'll see if they can get Conlan versus Wood over the line, because Lee Wood is a matchroom fighter now, whereas Mick Conlan,
He's with Top Rank.
I don't know what Mick's situation actually is over there across the Atlantic Ocean in the United Kingdom.
Who's he in bed with over there?
Is he with Frank? Is he still with Frank and the people over there at BT Sport, or has that situation changed? I really don't know. I like the fight, I'll tell you that much. I like the idea of Conlan versus Wood. Just not completely sure they can get it over the line. We'll have to see about that. Mick was last in action against former champion TJ Haney. Here in the United States, we saw that fight by way of ESPN+, but that don't speak to whoever he might be in bed with over there in the United Kingdom. I don't know how the fight fans over there in the UK, I don't know where they saw that fight. You're gonna have to ask a Brit for insights on this one. How feasible is Conlan versus Wood really? Is this a fight the Brits are actually expecting to see, or are there political boundary lines there that we here in the United States aren't aware of?
I'm not against the fight.
I love the idea of this fight. Lee Wood, he just put on a career best performance against Kansu, and Mick Conlan, he looked rather impressive against TJ Haney. That was a good little scrap. I'm just wondering, is this fight actually feasible? Can this fight happen? Finally, per tweet from Michael Benson, Eddie Hearn has said he's in talks and attempting to make Devin Haney versus Jojo Diaz Jr. in November for Haney's WBC lightweight title. The problem with that is Oscar De La Hoya has come out via his own Twitter account and stated there's no truth on Joseph Diaz negotiating or fighting Devin Haney. Joseph Diaz himself says, y'all keep believing these fake fighters making offers, etc., but they all pussy and never actually commit. We all know that Devin Haney is a network free agent right now. He's not tied to any particular platform at this time, even though Eddie Hearn is still negotiating fights or attempting to on his behalf.
This is a pretty big discrepancy, though.
Eddie says he's trying to negotiate a fight with this guy, but this guy's saying it's all hogwash. This guy's saying it's all bullshit. And you know, we first heard about these two guys potentially fighting weeks ago, and it seems like there hasn't been any progress there.
I think Devin's wasting his time at 135.
I think he's wasting his time hanging on to that title. I think he's reached a point to where staying at 135 pounds is more of a hindrance than anything else. I mean, yes, it's a hot division with a lot of big names like Ryan Garcia and Teofimo Lopez and potentially Gervonta Davis, but unless you're going to actually have a fight with one of those fighters, you're wasting your time. And I'll tell you something, it don't look like he's going to fight none of those guys, so what he needs to do is get a head start on 140 pounds.
That's what he ought to do.
So let's hypothesize, let's pontificate. If JoJo ain't fighting Devin, who is he fighting? Well, he might end up fighting Ryan Garcia. You never know.
Yeah, if he's not fighting Devin.
Gervonta Davis may end up fighting Rolly Romero. Vasil Lomachenko is supposed to be fighting Richard Comey, and Teofimo Lopez is supposed to be defending his titles against George Kambosos Jr. And all of that leaves Devin Haney out there in the cold. So why is he sitting around waiting for a dance partner when he can go up to 140 and get a head start on snagging a title up there? Because very soon the title's up there, they could go vacant.
Go up there and get a head start on all of these guys.
Because that's where they're all going to end up anyways. Teofimo ain't going to stay at lightweight forever. Neither will Ryan or Gervonta.
Yeah, he'll probably move back down to fight Rolly or fight Rolly at 140.
Devin's wasting his time at lightweight. He really is. He needs to move up and get a head start on these other guys. See about getting himself in position to fight for a title before they decide to move up. And all these arguments about whether or not Teofimo Lopez really is an undisputed champion, whether or not there's any value to Devin Haney's WBC title at lightweight, he can circumvent all of that by getting a head start, picking up a belt at 140 pounds, so that by the time these guys get there, they have to see him. As far as Eddie Hearn saying he's negotiating this fight, Jojo Diaz and Oscar De La Hoya saying otherwise, I don't know. Maybe this guy sent an email they haven't read yet.
Maybe that's why their stories are so wildly different.
Even though they've had ample time the last couple of weeks to open up a dialogue and see about really making this fight happen. I don't know why Eddie Hearn would lie about something like this. I just know that these two different teams are telling two very different stories. I'm not sure why that is.
There's a lot of things that need reconciliation here.
Because even though JoJo himself is saying that all that Devin Haney stuff, that's bullshit, what is he doing? What fight is he actually negotiating? Is he negotiating to fight Ryan Garcia, or is he not negotiating to fight anybody?
You know, I could have swore Joseph and Bill Haney were on the same page.
I could have swore I saw those two guys on a conference call with each other, where JoJo claimed that it was Ryan Garcia that was full of shit. Now, the energy's different. The story's changed.
Oh, goddamn thing seems like a waste of time.